Welcome, everyone, to Sunday Fuel. I am your glorious host, Sacred Prophet. Joined as ever by my plucky co-host, Peter.
Hello. Just a regular voice here. Hello.
Peter, I wish I could be as ignorant and jovial as you are at this moment.
So stupid.
But we're on the verge of a tragic time.
Are we?
Sunday Fuel is the show where we look at the trades from the week past, looking at the trades for the week ahead. And what we talked about last week was that if Bitcoin moved in a particular way, it might spell doom to Bitcoin. And that's what happened. In fact, in my wildest dreams, I didn't imagine such a bearish setup.
Oh, God. Oh, God. No.
Is this the end of the cycle?
Oh, no.
Is this the tragic doom of Bitcoin?
Tell me there's a twist coming.
Look, let's just take a look at the twist is we bump our views up to where they need to be.
Well, it better not be clickbait, all right? Is there some tragic end? What are you talking about? We're sitting here at 93.9. We're sitting pretty.
I know.
Okay, previous week's trade. Let's keep it on point. Let's keep it on point. Previous week.
Yeah, and then we'll come back to the horrible news later. Please stay tuned, like and subscribe. Last week on Sacred Prophet. Sorry, last week on Sacred Prophet.
Oh, God. I shouldn't
Sunday
have got
Fuel.
you that mixer.
All right, so we had a previous trades, which is started on this week, right? This was the week. And we talked about it over here. So the idea here was that we were expecting some bullishness. Remember I said by April 21st, and what was that? April 21st? Like basically the night before, the 21st? I mean, I'm nailing it with the dates and I don't know. I just find it to be incredible. The other day I was looking at myself in the mirror and it felt like my eyes were glowing gold. You ever get that? Of course you never did. Never mind. But I mean, like something that happens in you when you live in this multidimensional, timeless state, where you get this, retro causality and future causality all mixed into one. It's almost like I could see the chart finished,
right,
100 years from now, and I'm just looking at what it is right now. I mean, it's like when Terrence McKenna was talking about how shamans can see what the weather would be like next week or who stole the goat, because they could just see it from that level. They could just see it. But don't worship me. Don't worship me.
So what are you saying? You were right in the previous week's trade?
Yeah, exactly. So previous week's trade, we got the move up. We talked about this on Revelations last week, and we just had the off from the lows a 22 plus move up to the top, which is totally expected. We're not wondering why. And Peter, where are we headed towards? Obviously, this was the level we're headed towards. That's where we're being pulled to the VWAP level that was not mitigated towards the top. With this whole daily VWAP and a weekly VWAP near each other. Now, remember when we did our Revelations, I talked about how this level here, this is where we were. The price was over here. And the question was whether it would break through, continue some momentum, or move down to the weekly level, these two weekly levels that are down here, right? So we still have the 84.6 level that has not been mitigated, and the 80 handle on Bitcoin that has not been mitigated. And we're moving up towards, the momentum was moving us up towards it. Now the momentum's moving up because of the liquidations. We've talked about it for weeks, this idea that there were billions of dollars of shorts versus millions of dollars of longs. And there's no two ways about it. If you have a long position, might never need to sell. Well, that's not true. It could get liquidated, but short positions get cleared out way easier than long positions. And we had billions of dollars worth of shorts. So when those got cleared out, just ratcheted upwards, we get these large spike moves up, right? So these are happening because of liquidations that are happening. And then over here is what we're seeing, the retail is pushing the price up continuing the momentum a little bit, but obviously you're seeing it's not step changes like what you get with liquidations. This makes sense to you, Peter?
Yes.
All right. So we burst through this level on our last revelations, and where did we go to? We went to the 3-month VWAP. We don't talk about the 3-month VWAP much. We'll talk about it today, but we don't normally talk about it much because it's this long-term quarterly trend that that the price moves towards. After that, when we clear that level, we came back down to our wave, and we continued moving up to the trend line here. This is a trend line that's holding. Okay, this trend line. I haven't talked about it much. I did talk about this level because in this whole area over here is this area of resistances that we have to get through that we talked about on Revelations.
Right.
So
can you change that to white? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can click hide at the bottom there too.
So this was the seasonal average. This purple line is the seasonal average. So we moved from the yearly up to the seasonal, which we cleared. We cleared the 3-month. This trend line has been created from the points over here. So this pivot point and this pivot point. And then we also have this weekly level that has not been mitigated yet. So totally, just like we said on the Revelations, totally expect that we can get moves up to those levels. And this is what we saw here. We saw last week that we moved up to this seasonal average, to this level over here for the wave trend, and then over here for the 3-month average. The other trades that we talked about for the week was moving down towards the weekly VWAPs, right? So this was the weekly trade 2 weeks ago, and this was the weekly trade last week. Right. And as you can see, we did not touch those. We blew past. And not only did we blow past those, we also blew past the daily level, almost all the daily levels moving up to here. Okay? So essentially, all the trades last week didn't work, except for the most important one, which is where we said that when you get down to the 74 level, you want to be going long.
Right.
The bias is towards the long. But
wait, you were calling it the trades, but you weren't, from what I remember, you weren't saying that we're for sure going to hit those levels. We could go up, then go down.
That's why I didn't even tweet them out. I didn't even tweet out these daily levels because there was no, like, with the liquidations that were happening in crypto, there was just no real reason to believe that these levels would be easily hit. I thought they would be hard pressed. As you can see from our trend indicator, over here, we had green, 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 then yellow sideways, green again, yellow, and then green, green, yellow, green. Like, we were just this bullishness all the way up. There was no red that showed up, and no indication that there was any sort of weakness that would pull us back to these levels. Right? Nothing was actually saying anything about that.
But we could still go down there.
Well, I think we will go down there.
All right, that's for the next segment. All right, yeah. Go ahead.
So the trades for the week past, all of them essentially failed, and except for the one of we're still biased to the long side. Mm-hmm. Now, looking at the chart now, what I said last week was that if we actually get this, where we actually, because we hadn't hit this level, right? So when we talked about it last week, I said if we don't actually hit this weekly level and we skip out on the daily levels, this is almost the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that Bitcoin falls straight down. Yeah. But even that's not really the worst case scenario, because what happens is that all these levels essentially need to be cleared one way or another. They can only be cleared by the price coming down to revisit it, or the yearly wave moving up to cross them. Now, as you remember, it took 2 months for the wave to cross the 74 level down over here.
Yeah.
Because this yearly wave does not move quickly. This is not going to suddenly move up. So for the yearly level to come up to the 80,000, I mean, it would take basically 6 months worth of consolidation at least for that to occur. So that's not happening. Which means, well, I mean, it could happen if the price keeps blasting upwards.
Right.
But the bias is towards the downside for this, because we generally clear these levels out. So my expectation is either where we are right now, I'm actually in a short right now, or at the 96.4 level, which I've been calling out for weeks now, or at this daily level here at 97.6, or even at these trend levels up here. All these would be areas I would be taking small shorts. If we don't get any significant dips. And what I was saying on Revelations is that a dip here, once we get this bounce off the yearly trend, like let me show you what happened last time. Once we get the bounce off the trend, actually a lot of times, we get this reversal down in order to clear some of the levels out. And then we keep moving up, right? The question is, are we, some people might think, well, this is where we're in the step change, right? So we're not going to get out. What's happening is that it moved up really quickly, we're moving sideways, and then we're going to keep moving up still. This is possible. The reason I doubt it is that we're not near any wave levels. We're not near a trend. We're not near, see all the supportive flows in these waves? They're all consolidating together. Even if you're looking at over here, we still got to pull back down to the trend. Sorry, not the trend. Yeah, the trend lines. We still got to pull back in, and then a little bit momentum up, come back in, and then even more still, right? So even in these big bullish moves, it still needs to gain the momentum up. It has to pull back down and then launch. So what I see over here, we get this bounce and this launch up, but we need some correction to get more of that juice. And to me, it's no coincidence that now this level over here, this lowest unmitigated level for the week, is now going to coincide with this trend line over here. This often means that we're going to pull back down to over here. This will be where the confirmation happens, and then we move up. All right.
That's gonna shake a lot of paper hands.
Yes, this is what I was saying last week, that we're going to get that we perfectly 15% down, and we'll get the narrative again that this was a truncated cycle.
Right.
All right. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing in the future. That's just what it is. I'm just telling you what's essentially guaranteed to happen. Right? I don't really know why we'll get down there at 15% draw. I don't know why. All I can tell you is what, when, how, and where.
Okay, well, that's good.
I know, Peter, that I'm the sacred prophet.
No.
But
no.
Don't worship me.
No.
Just follow my
Nobody's
words
worshiping you
to the letter.
No.
Religious.
Look, I'll follow your words to the letter.
What OT level are you? What OT level are you? Because you sound like an OT level 2. Just so you know, you're giving OT level 2 right now.
So I want to make sure we're clear. So I want to clear out previous week before we move on to the next. So are we still in previous week? What do you got to say about the previous week's trade?
Previous week, all the trades did not work out, pulling towards the weekly level. In fact, that's the only trade I already talked about, pulling down to the weekly level. That didn't work. So you lose that 2.5% or 5%, depending on what your position is, and you just let that go. But the idea is that you should have a bias long. You should be long Bitcoin right now, either as a core position or for your leverage trades.